Welcome back. It's now time for our discussion segment, and we have been speaking to you a lot this week, since at least Tuesday, when the budget presentation was interrupted by a quarrel that descended into a walkout between members of the government side, and they stepped out of Parliament because of matters that were raised by the opposition leader, Mark Golding, while he was making his budget presentation. Now, today we understand that the opposition members will return to the Parliament, where the Prime Minister will be making his presentation. And there is expected to be some amount of angst or anxiety. But to discuss this further, we are being joined by two young people who are no strangers to politics nor this very station. We have joining us from G2K, the Vice President, Titania Clark, and from the People's National Party, he is very young, very outspoken, and no stranger to you, Cleveland Tomlinson. He is the opposition's junior spokesperson on finance. Welcome to you both.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me.
Right. I expect best behaviors today, but 2 days...
Always.
Certainly.
Thank you. 2 days have passed. I'm starting with Titania, but 2 days have passed since the government walked out of Parliament. Where are we today? First you, Titania, and then you, Cleveland.
We are at a place of anxiety, waiting to hear from our party leader and Prime Minister at 2 p.m. We anticipate an early start to Parliament, and there are actual numbers, contributions that will be made by the party leader, and we believe that the Parliament will not be placed in disrepute by having an attack today, and it's just a good vibe over by the Jamaica Labour Party, because we believe in building better communities and building a Jamaica that everybody can grow.
Cleveland, where does your party stand on Parliament's resumption today? And will there be any special tone you anticipate the Prime Minister striking?
Well, the parliamentary caucus of the party has met, and they have deliberated on whether they will be in Parliament today. So we will look to see what will happen at 2 p.m. today. But the People's National Party guards very sacredly the responsibility that the Jamaican people have invested in us, and that is to hold the government to account. We are performing our constitutional responsibility to be a guardian of democracy and good governance for the people. And what was demonstrated in Parliament by our party leader is exactly consistent with our responsibility. We have to ensure that we hold the government to account and that we demand good governance and practices in the conduct and management of the people's affairs. And the PNP will never resolve from that. You can scrutinize us, but we will ensure that what we present is consistent with our responsibility to demand good governance for the people of Jamaica.
I know you've been stressing much about governance, because one of the sides to this controversy is about governance, and the other side is really making it out about misogyny. How did we get here, Titania? And then back to you, Cleveland.
We got here because we stand on principle. Yes, we started, I believe it was 2021 with a deputy speaker, where everybody, including the then party leader, Dr. the Most Honorable Peter Phillips, for the PMP, he approved and he spoke about, his belief in the ethical practices of the deputy speaker being appointed. Then our Speaker of the House decided that she should resign, and
Titania, I'm going to ask you to stick a pin right there and stick around, both of you, because we'll come right back. Welcome back to CVM News at noon. We're discussing the unprecedented government walkout on Tuesday during the budget debate presentation by opposition leader Mark Golding. Joining us now to discuss further, we have Titania Clark, Vice President of G2K, and we also have the PNP's junior spokesperson on finance. He is Cleveland Tomlinson, no strangers to you. Welcome back, guys.
Yes, so you asked, why are we here? We're here because the People's National Party leader had the opportunity to come to Jamaica to explain what his budgetary, what he will be doing as it relates to fiscal responsibility for Jamaica. Instead, he used the opportunity to once again show us that their party is not united and they don't understand or know the cliff notes from their WhatsApp. as it relates to the Speaker of the House and who is the Speaker of the House. He went ahead to identify what we are still yet to identify, the purpose of this being mentioned in his debate as it relates to the Speaker of the House being the wife of the Prime Minister, instead of making mention that she is a duly elected member of Parliament for one of the richest constituencies in terms of people and resources, East Rural St. Andrew. So again, the People's National Party is flip-flopping on its position, and they have been through quite a few party leaders and leadership changes. And so we're not sure if it's a belief of what the stance is. And if we're going to talk about good governance, then a big part of good governance is sticking to your word and speaking about what it is that you support. And when you support it, not using cheap political shots that can then be interpreted as being misogynistic by their party leader. So we're here to hear at 2 o'clock what will be discussed. We want to see the numbers. We know that our party leader will discuss figures. Our Minister of Finance discuss how is it that we're going to be doing all that we propose to Jamaica and what those budgetary restrictions will be and what that fiscal responsibility will be of the Jamaica Labour Party.
I sense Cleveland's disapproval. Cleveland, are you saying it's about misogyny?
I completely disagree. That's a big point that we have heard coming out of what would have happened on Tuesday. But before I get to the argument of misogyny, let's talk about what we heard from the opposition leader. It must be blatantly clear that we heard from Mark Golding an extensive listing and coherent policy prescriptions to the issues that are facing the Jamaican people. And we have heard the argument that Mark would not have spoken about anything relating to the budget. What we should appreciate is that over the years, both the opposition leader and the Prime Minister treat the budget presentation as a kind of State of the Union address where they speak all encompassing on matters that are affecting the country. So it's not necessarily what is entailed in the budget that the opposition leader would have spoken to, although he did respond to quite a few of the revenue measures that the minister had spoken of in his presentation. But we went and we looked at all major sectors under the portfolios that he has put together for a possible government when we are to take office should we win the next election. So he was very comprehensive in his policy prescriptions. Let me just make that clear. Let's move to this argument of misogyny. It really does injustice to people who are prejudiced on the basis of gender, and it's a great injustice to a woman. It is a stretch to say that it was misogyny. The party leader never attacked the gender of the speaker. He attacked her agenda. It's a biting comment that the opposition leader made. You can scrutinize it in that light, but to say that he was attacking her for her gender is really a stretch. In fact, had it been the reverse in gender roles, had it been a female prime minister and a male speaker, the same argument would have been valid. Now let's talk about whether or not the PNP is flip-flopping on this. Let's make it absolutely clear. We always had reservations. We always had concerns that this would not look good. At the time when we supported her nomination, we relaxed our concerns to give her the benefit of the doubt. We wanted to give her a chance to see how she would conduct and be the umpire of Parliament's proceedings. Her conduct has given validity to the concerns that we had, so now we are raising the concerns. So it is not to say we never had concerns before. We wanted to see if she would act in a way that is fair and balanced, and so far she has not. She has failed to table at least 2 reports submitted by the Auditor General in January. A Gleaner report came out in March that indicated that reports submitted by the Auditor General has not been tabled. In addition to that, she has refused to release the opinion on which she makes her decisions to send reports from the Integrity Commission to the Parliamentary Oversight Committee.
I must cut you because I definitely have to squeeze in this question. And you have a lot to say, both of you, but should Mark Golding be allowed to complete his speech?
Well, quite frankly, I don't think that's something we're interested in. We completed our speech. We took our presentation to the people. You saw where Mark Golding was spoken in front of Garden House, and videos have been circulating. He was almost at the end of his presentation. Okay. It was a political symbolism that will go down in history. So whether or not they extend the opportunity...
Let me hear
Titania, allow me to speak.
No, Cleveland, I'm going to have to take Titania, unfortunately, right now because we're up on the break. So, Titania, Titania, go ahead really briefly.
You asked, should he be allowed to complete his speech? No, he should not. If it was a budget presentation, then most certainly. And that is the debate today. But did he do a budget presentation? I do not believe so. And Cleveland actually said that he used it as a State of the Union. I don't know which governance we're under. But if it was a budget presentation, which we can't identify from the opposition leader, then he can keep that speech and just do it in front of God House. It's public space, and that is fine with us. Today at 2 p.m., our Jamaica Labour Party leader and Prime Minister Andrew Holness will be doing his budget presentation with fiscal prudence to the Jamaican people.
Final question: what should be the tone of the discourse today? In less than 20 seconds, both of you. Titania, go ahead.
The tone will be a party leader and a prime minister that listens to Jamaica. We are anticipating that he will come to the Jamaican people with areas that he knows is addressing their immediate needs. And so that will be very interesting and a good decision by the prime minister to take that approach.
Cleveland, what do you expect? Tone.
From the prime minister?
Yes.
Or from
the prime minister.
Well, I expect him to respond to the valid criticisms that we would have made. I expect him to roll out some initiatives that hopefully he can use to cauterize the hemorrhaging of political support that he has been experiencing since the loss of the local government elections in February. So I'm expecting some policy prescriptions. Let's see. What I know is that the People's National Party will continue to be the advocates for the people, and will continue to ensure that the issues that the people are experiencing.
Thank you, Cleveland. We're going to have to go. Thank you so much. That's Cleveland Tomlinson from the People's National Party. He is the junior spokesperson on finance. And we also have Titania Clark. She is the Vice President of G2K in the Jamaica Labour Party. Thank you both. We're up on another break, but we'll keep the ball rolling as soon as we come back with sports.